Everybody, this is Perch, and I'm backing up in the car, so it's beeping at me frantically while I'm trying to do this. Anyway, um, this is a kind of fun stuff you get on the Perch show. Anyway, I got a viewer question here, and it's a good one, but I'm going to kind of turn it around and give it to all of you. So I'll answer it, but I'm going to answer it crappy because the problem is I enjoy a lot of comics. I mean, this is the weird part is that I think a lot of people who do YouTube channels and talk critically about comics wind up being I don't know they're often portrayed as being very negative. Oh, they don't like anything is kind of what's said, but the reality is it's kind of the opposite problem for me. I like everything. So whenever somebody asks me what are the things you like, there's too much. Like I always don't mention something, and then somebody sends me a message like, "Oh, you asshole, you didn't mention me," and so I'll just give this blanket statement. Everyone I've interviewed, either that has come out as an interview or is in holding, so will come out sometime in the next couple months, is I've liked work they've done. Okay, there you go. But the question is this: what is it? It goes, hey Perch. I'm now. Hang on a second. I'll look at this. It says, hey Perch, what comics, or more appropriately, what creators do you always know are going to be great? Who are your go-to creators that when you pick up the comic, you've got a 99.9% chance of having a good time? And then there's more to that mail, but I want to just stick to that one question. I'll answer the rest of it in another video. So see, now I've actually got the problem where I'm making multiple videos off one question. It's like it will never end. This stuff will never end. I keep thinking, I did this video a while back, like I think I'm in the fourth quarter of this show where I'm like, I think I'm running out of questions. And then like a bunch of people like, I will take that challenge. And my email, like I've got 100+ questions that I have to still wait through. So I don't know when this is going to end, but it's going to be a while. So what creators are my go-to creators? There's tons is the problem there. I mean, and I'm not saying this generously. Literally, there are so many people who I love, and they come out of the woodwork. Sometimes I've sat down. In fact, just earlier today, I was talking to somebody, and they're like, "Okay, give me a list of people who I should start reading." And I start making this list, and I got to like 40 names, and I'm like, "Okay, go with this." And then I kept taking the paper back to add more names. And by the time the little kind of lunch coffee thing ended, that list had grown to like 70+ people. This is what's something that bothers me is as much as people bitch about comics and how there are problems, it's why I always have a negative reaction to the comments that are like the whole industry should burn down. You say that, but I defy you to sit down and start and write out the names of the people you like, that you enjoy, whose comics you enjoy. And at first, you're going to be like, that list is not going to be very long. But I guarantee you, if you just sit with it for a while, that list is going to get huge. And so for anyone who says that there's too much negativity, that the people who are against comics, whatever the F that means, there are tons of people that you love, and you start making that list, it'll get very endless. But I will tell you this, and I'm going to throw this out there, and at this point, it's like, screw it, right? I will tell you, if Mark Millar's name is on a comic book, I'm reading it. Period. I wish I had a better, like a more nuanced answer to that, but I love that guy. I love the stuff he does. Even if the stuff he does, I make fun of. So, for example, that Trouble comic where Aunt May was a whore, still fun. I mean, even though I make fun of it, even though it's like Aunt May was a whore, it's still enjoyable. It's insane. It's not like everything, every moment, every word the guy writes is incredible. Obviously not. But I mean, like I never have felt bad about giving money to his stuff. King of Spies, new book, great. Magic Order out right now, great. I don't know why. And I've talked to other people like I don't like Mark Millar because he deconstructs heroes. He has a negative take. I've heard that criticism, But I screw it. I think the guy's work is incredible. And I feel bad right now because, and I'm kind of pulling his name more to the top of my mind because he's somebody I haven't interviewed yet, although we keep going back and forth. It feels like we've been going back and forth for a year in getting an interview scheduled up to talk to the guy. He and I are going to tie one off something fierce, man, at some point. I guarantee you it is going to be epic when the two of us finally meet up at a con. Um, it's been a while. But, I just think his stuff's great. But in many ways, when you ask that question, there's a lot of great creators out there. And some of those I've interviewed, and I do notice this thing about this, what I do when I talk about it. I've got this thing that is kind of subconscious in my mind, where when I talk to someone, I feel like I need to mention them less because I don't want people to think I'm being a kiss ass to somebody who's just been on the show. But the reality is, I kind of try and engage people who, especially when they reach out. I mean, like the best case scenario, Joe Casey, for example, reached out to me, and I like when I saw the mail come in. I remember where I was. I was out for a run, and the phone did a little buzz, and I looked down at the little notification and it says Joe Casey. I'm like, oh, that'd be hilarious if that was. I wonder who this is. It must be some person whose name is Joe Casey. Wouldn't it be awesome if it was actually Joe Casey, the writer who I enjoy, his stuff a great deal? And I opened the mail. It's like, holy shit, it is Joe Casey. And it was a great moment. I remember just being on cloud nine for the rest of that day. Same thing happened with Kari Andrews. I remember where I got a mail from Kari Andrews and like, oh man, I'm like, wouldn't it be great if it was Kari Andrews, like the guy whose art style I really appreciate? I love that guy, and but it can't be him. Ben Templesmith showed up in one of the chats during a live stream, and I remember being like, who is the asshole who is posting as Ben Templesmith? It's not Ben Templesmith because that guy's incredible. His work is really legendary to me. And so, but these are the weird things that happen. And certainly being a retailer and being in comics, meeting a lot of these people in real life, it's like I get to meet them a second time through this channel, and that's bizarre to me, but it's wonderful. I mean, it goes without saying, and it is weird. If you're talking about an art style that works for me in terms of just an art style that really speaks, Sean Murphy, who obviously I've talked to on this channel many times before. I love his art. I've long before I ever talked to this guy in person, I would pick up one of those books and I'd be like, shit, how does this guy draw like this? Like it's just so good. It's this extra level of excellence that goes into this. So if Sean Murphy is on a book, I'm like, I'm buying that book. And regardless, like it could be some complete fool writing it, and I'm like, you know what? I can just easily like turn off my brain a little bit, like with this Phil Jimenez Wonder Woman book. It's like, you know what? I'm going to try and turn off the writer part of this, the words part, as fast as humanly possible because this artwork is incredible. Just going to look at the art. Works for me. I think that one of the great things about comics is that, again, as of many of you probably listening to this very cynical. I'm taking that from reading the comments, although like only 1/10 of you comment, or even less than that. I think I did the analysis at one point. I think it was like 1/30th of the people who are doing the views are commenting on the video. It's very little people are actually commenting, and the people who do comment are cynical, like that damn comic industry. And to a large extent, when I'm talking about problems in the comic industry, it's going to bring up people who are commenting on the problems in the comic industry. That's natural, makes sense. But I guarantee you right now, um, somebody trying to call while I'm doing a video. What the? It's call from spam risk. Would you like to answer? And I do not want to answer call from spam risk. I mean, I'm like, who in their right mind? Very lonely people are answering that call. Anyway, despite the fact that on a regular basis, a lot of people express negativity to the comics industry, Do this as a positive thing for yourself today. Go through and just do what I did. Like, write down the names, like literally, just physically, write down the names of the people who you love who do comics. Just like, hey, if John Byrne did a comic today, I'm buying that. Walter Simonson, buying that. Louise Simonson, buying that. Paul Smith, buying that. Just start writing down the names of the people, even if you have to go back in time. It's like, oh, Anna Cinti's going to do comic, yeah, writing that. And what you're going to find, and this is a good positive exercise for you, what you're going to discover is that you're going to get to a really long list really quickly. And then I want you to look at that list of, however many names, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 people. And I want you to like keep that list handy. And the next time you're in the mood to say, burn it all down, F comics, I hate it all. Why are the bad people infiltrating comics? I want you to pick up that list. And I want you to, just look it over and remind yourself that you have tens, if not hundreds of people who you love who do comics. And it's gonna remind you why you're in this. It's gonna be a good thing. Trust me. Anyway, I left out a ton of people's names. There are literally hundreds for me. I suspect if I really started writing it down and were serious, I think I would get to 1,000. And no matter how much we want to bitch about comics and how problematic things are and how bad things are going to get, there's hundreds, if not 1,000 creators who I would right now reach into my wallet, take out cash, and pay for. How about you? Let me know the people who you love the most in the comments below. Thanks for listening.